Hi, everybody. We are well and truly into the season now on Fantasy Golf Picks. My name is Sophie Walker, and this is Kit Alexander. Well, we had an half-decent week last week, didn't we, Kit?
We did. Well, you had a very good week. Your captain's curse is well and truly over. You had Hovland as captain. Great shout. Two in a row for you with the captain winning. You're on fire. I mean, you have closed the gap to me considerably. Mm-hmm. I had one of those weeks last week, the same as the US Open for me. I've picked a lot of the players that were up there, but because I didn't have the guy who won as my captain and a lot of other people did, even though I look at the finishes of my guys and it feels like a really good week, I've actually lost ground on a lot of people because, you know, I didn't have John Rahm captain last week and I had Louis instead of Victor Hovland, which was kind of the decision for a lot of people this week just gone. You nailed those captains picks. And even though our teams were relatively similar, you've just absolutely, you're this close to me now.
I know, I had a complete meltdown. I thought I'd picked Wiesberger, and I looked at my team and I've got Harrington. I was like, what point were you doing that? So I was a bit disappointed that for some reason I went for that. But obviously I had Keimer, and he was fantastic as well. So I was pretty happy. What did I get? I got 1,351 points, which is good. Scott Harrison got 1,509 points. So it just shows kind of how close we got there. What do you think to the week? Hovland was good, wasn't he?
He looks so good. And especially with those sort of injury doubts about the eye and had it fully recovered, to come back, fly across the Atlantic from West Coast to Germany, just looks so comfortable. We'll finish it off with a plum. It was a very, very impressive performance overall. And then Keimer coming through late on as well. He's an interesting one because obviously he's again teeing it up this week in the Irish Open. And a bit like Wiesberger, I've said before, I never quite know how to analyse Wiesberger. He's a bit like Keimer's in that bracket for me a bit at the moment, where I'm just struggling to pinpoint what I'm going to get from him one week to the next.
Yeah, I think that's where I get my. Well, I've met them both once or twice, and I've just got really good vibes from them. I played a couple of pro-ams with Wiesberger when he was kind of challenge touring over in Switzerland. Just a really nice guy. I know his management company and then people that work with him closely. Keimer similar. Know Craig, spent some time with Keimer at a pro-am in Scotland, and just really nice guys that I can see, especially with Wiesberger, he's matured. Like there's a maturity to him. This Ryder Cup, I think he's really ready for it. So yeah, hopefully he'll sneak in because I think he'll be good. He can make a lot of birdies. And Keimer, I just think it's always great to be back. He's a great storyteller. If you ever, I think it's actually back. European Tour do a podcast. It's like the life story of. And one of them is Keimer's on, and his story is incredible. Like he lost his mum at a young age, and the way he got onto the Challenge Tour, he just smashed it early on, got to world number one. A good storyteller and very just thoughtful guy. Like in fact, when I was in this pro-am with him, he was in Scottish Open. He was learning to sing, right? I know. So he's like, when A Star Is Born was out. He was like Lady Gaga in, like halfway down the fairway. I was like, oh, like, you don't want to sound like, oh, are you singing? He's like, yes, I'm learning to sing. I'm like, okay. So as much as he's into his like Buddhism and everything, he'll always go kind of outside the box and randomly. Yeah. Anyway, bit of a sidetrack, but yeah, Keimer was learning to sing a couple of years ago. Let's move on to Dubai Duty Free Irish Open. I mean, work that one out as a sponsor, but I believe the guy that owns Dubai Duty Free is actually Irish, so that's where there's the connection there. So big names this week, isn't it, Kit? Huge names playing.
Yeah, we've got some big guys coming over. Rory McIlroy, of course, is always going to be the main headline maker in Ireland. Well, anywhere on the European Tour, he's in the field. Shane Lowry and Tommy Fleetwood, Martin Keimer picking up after that great performance, that great final round on Sunday. Rob McIntyre teeing it back up again after we haven't seen him on the European Tour for a few weeks. So there's some big names there. Christian Poseidon out as well, coming back over, having been in America. Mount Juliet. So A course that we haven't seen loads of, at least not for a few years. It hosted the WGC American Express 2002, 2004. Tiger won it a couple of times. Ernie Els won the third. So some pedigree golfers there. And then I think there were 3 Irish Opens in the mid-90s, 93, 94, 95. Don't think anyone who teed it up there
Who
will
won
be
those,
playing this
Kit?
week. I think Torrance won one.
No way.
Langer won one. And I don't know the other one.
I'm impressed.
I think it's Torrance and Langer, I think, were 2 of them. So, you know, it's a Jack Nicklaus designed parkland, a really, really good parkland. It has been rated as the top parkland in Ireland quite often since it opened. As we say, Jack Nicklaus design. So often he has
dog legs
quirks
and water. Jack Nicklaus.
Exactly. And there is plenty of water. There's a river runs through the course. There's a few other water features involved as well. So generally, if you find someone that does quite well on Jack Nicklaus layouts, that kind of does translate quite well to other layouts as well. 7,250 yards, par 72. So I think we're going to get a relatively American style test in many ways, but perhaps not American style weather.
Like, you know, when you're like Ireland, I want links golf. I know we've got the Scottish Open as well coming open, but yeah, I'd like it when we're back home to get a bit of links golf. I had a quick look at it, and you know, from a girl point of view, hotel looks amazing, so the lads will be happy with that. There's a spa. The weather looks good. So Rory, we know he doesn't like wind and rain, but it's going to be all right. It's going to be like 18 degrees. It might get a little bit rainy at the weekend, but by that point, he'll have a spring in his step and he'll be absolutely fine. Mm-hmm. Also, you can pay and play this place, which is cool. So obviously it's closed at the moment, but it's €110 a round, which
that's pretty reasonable.
That was during the week. It probably is more at the weekend, but I just clicked on a random day in August. I thought that's always nice to be able to play a golf course that the pros play, and see how it is. I'm a big fan of that. We spoke about this when they go to the Belfry, and me and you have played it. So if you are in Ireland, because we're not allowed to go there probably at the moment, maybe go and play it this summer. You might be able to get on because there'll be none of us Europeans and Americans there. So that'll be good. What are you thinking this week? What players are you going with? Are you sticking with the big guns?
I mean, Rory's got to be in, done. Tommy Fleetwood's got to be in. He's only had 2 top 10s this year, Tommy Fleetwood, but he's made a lot of cuts. He's just been sort of there or thereabouts. And he actually hasn't played on European soil since the BMW PGA Championship last year, which is remarkable, really. That's like 7-8 months ago, something like that. It was a bit later, October last year. So I think he'll get a spring back in his step, being back on the European tour, more sort of familiar surroundings. And then the other sort of real big gun coming back, Shane Lowry, 3 top 10s in his last 5 starts, playing some really nice stuff. Obviously, wonderful short game. And I think the carrot of a Ryder Cup debut, with the captain being his good friend Podrick Harrington, I think we'll get a decent summer out of Shane to make it into that team. So those 3 are straight in for me. I've got to keep riding with Sam Horsfield. He's solid. Up and down week last week. I mean, after the first round, I was delighted. Then he went backwards in the second round. Then he started slowly and recovered over the weekend. It was a crazy roller coaster ride, but ultimately finishing tied 5th, I think. So you've got to be positive about that. He
leads the birdie count on the European Tour. So he's got 168 birdies, but he's only got 32 rounds. So, I mean, you just proved there is up and downness. But I reckon this week could be a bit of a birdie fest. So that's why, I mean, you've got to put Sam Horsfield in anyway. But if you want even more justification, the guy likes to have a few birdies and, you know, a couple of bogeys. But as a pro, it's the birdies that matter. Like I would say maybe 30 years ago, it was like level par was all right. But now you want to be trying to make, on average, like 4 birdies a round, 5 birdies a round. And then you can afford a few drop ones. So.
And that's exactly what Sam does. And if he can cut out a few of those drop shots, he's always going to be there or thereabouts. My 5th selection is someone who you really like. You've touted quite a few times, Andy Sullivan.
Oh, I love him.
Because you said before, again, birdie fest, he tends to do really well. And also got a great record on kind of British courses, especially parkland courses, over well, the last sort of 12 months since we resumed golf, essentially. Won at Hanbury Manor, top 10s at like Close House, Celtic Manor, the Belfry had a top, did well in 5th last week. So he's going in as my 5th. I think it will suit him really nicely. I'm still wrestling a bit with my 6th selection, but they're my top 5. How many of those have you got in yours?
Yeah, Sully's going. I'm going to leave out Shane Lowry.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I always do something a bit daft. I just feel like he's coming home. It might be that little bit like, oh yes, I'm home. Actually, maybe with the bubble, it might not feel that. But there's 2 ways of looking at it. You can be like, I'm home, but I can't see anybody. Or I know he was delighted. Where did he play? Was it US Open, wasn't it? And then he was like, I can't wait to get home. So what's he been doing at home? That's what I want to know. Probably been at the pub a lot. I know the pubs are open now in Ireland. I spoke to Gary Murphy the other day. So I'm going to leave that one for now, but I do think he's well worth a shout for the Scottish Open.
I think you can actually make a case for leaving him out. And the reason would be he actually doesn't have that great of a record on Irish Opens recently, and especially non-linksy ones.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I wouldn't, if it was on a links course in Ireland, I'd go, yeah, but it's not. So he's probably going to be one I'm missing out. Christian Bezaden, who I think is a fabulous golfer. I really like him. He's world number 46 now. He's won a handful of times on the European Tour, and on the PGA Tour, he's top 10 in putting and kind of strokes gained around the green, which then you're like, yeah, but I think this will be a tee to green course, and I do think it will be. But as much as I hate to say it, I do think the courses are a bit easier set up on the European Tour. I think when they come back, having played on world stages, it's almost like they become big fish, small pond. The course is a little bit easier. They're taking slightly less clubbing. I mean, the guy hits it pretty far anyway. I like him. I like the way he's very calm. I think he's done better than we think in majors. He just shoved in that really poor round, doesn't he? But I think on the European Tour, yeah, you can definitely have him in. Keimer, for me, rides a wave very well. Gets a bit between his teeth, quite like. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he gets put in a group, like the Ryder Cup vice captain group or something like that. He'll quite like the limelight, like Keimer. So he's one that I think anybody that's just come off a week like that only on Sunday, you've got to look to be putting him in again.
He's one of the that I'm considering, but like I said a little earlier, I'm struggling a bit with where to position him because he has actually been quite inconsistent for the last couple of years. He's had a few top 10s, but he's not strung them together. If you like, there'll be 4 or 5 average tournaments, then he'll top 10, and then he'll be sort of average again, and then another top 10 will spring in there. Can he go back? I'm almost, because he was so good and got that top 10 last week, I'm almost thinking, well, the consistency.
I would say he's definitely mine. I think I'd swap Christian for Lowry, and then I've kind of got one spot available. So Thomas Peters. I think this is a Thomas Peters golf course. 29th last week, top 30 in driving distance and accuracy. So he's going to get the ball in play. His greens in reg isn't as good as normal, but it's normally amazing. Like it's normally top 20 on tour. So Thomas Peters is a style that I like. Marcus Armitage as well, got a good record in Ireland, likes playing in Ireland. Obviously, like won a couple of weeks ago at Porsche, had 4 top 10s this year. He's mates with Tommy, and he loves Rory. He's going to be like looking at that practice sheet going, right, I'm going to have a practice round with Rory and Tommy, please. And he's going to absolutely love it. He's quite a homeboy. He'll love being in Ireland. It's only across the water. I think the US Open experience will have just lifted him to another level. I don't want to put pressure on him and say I expect big things from Marcus Armitage, but I do. I think his game's there and his maturity level over the past few weeks, he's up there now. And and as well, I tell you who I don't know who's playing. I need to look at the entry list. Is Victor de Buissant playing?
He is, yeah.
He's one that I've snuck in my team before, haven't I? He's unbelievable at the minute. Like, I was like, look at his stats. He's like up there in par fives. I think he's like fifth. What is he? 6 in par fours. His stroke average is ridiculous. It's like, why is he not really contending? Like, it's very, very steady golf. So he's one that it might just throw in and go, you know what, I'll just have Victor.
Yeah,
but
I'd love to see Dubuisson get back to some more consistency, because unbelievably talented, but just golf is just a job for him. That's literally all
it is. But he likes fishing, doesn't he? And you said there's a river there.
Well, yes.
You know, he might pop out.
I think you could get very short odds on Victor Dubuisson having a fishing rod in his hand for a good portion of the next few days.
He's living his best life there.
That is true. That is true. I mean, a couple of other names I want to chuck in there, or sort of 3 names that I've looked at. Joost Luiten has just been really, really steady.
Yeah.
Top 10, 15s. I like his form this year.
He melted in Sweden, though.
Yeah, it's
meltdown. In fact, he was chucking some F-bombs and losing his out there.
And that's been his worst
I think he
finish for a
did
while.
really well to maintain it. He kind of, who was losing it? The Welsh lad was proper losing it.
Reece Enoch with that.
Yeah, he was. I reckon he got a few fines there because there was a few. I'm sorry if you heard any of that swearing.
A little bit of his check was gone before he got it.
Yeah, so exactly.
Ryan Fox is.
He's in mine. Yeah, he's had loads of birdies as well. Birdie machine.
Big hitter. It's a nice. He can make his share of birdies. Has a decent record on sort of British.
Done well in Ireland and Scotland, hasn't he? But I would say he might have more links courses. But I think as a player though, when you come back to a country you like I always liked playing in Scotland. Loved playing in Scotland, and it didn't actually matter if what links course it was or what inland course it was. It was a real feel-good factor of, I don't know, the air's better in Scotland, in my opinion. The food's great because it's a little bit like home. Everyone's still speaking the same language. I think that's why Sully does well as in that type of environment, like a chat. So yeah, I think Ryan Fox is a great shout. Yeah,
the other one I'd potentially chuck in is Darren Fickhart. I think I selected him a couple of weeks ago and mentioned him. His form's been good since then. A good finish last weekend. I think he's a player that I think I'd definitely be considering as well. So I've got my 5. I'll probably go with one of those 3 I've just mentioned. Or Keimer in there as well. One of Keimer, Luton, Fox, or Fickhart for my 6th spot. Is Rory your captain? That's the big question. You've gone back-to-back captains winning the last 2 weeks.
Can you believe? I didn't put him in the US Open, did I? And then I put him in this.
I didn't either. I think there'll be a few people more than ordinarily who wouldn't. But
all I've got to think of is who do I always think, who do I actually visually see holding that trophy at the end of the week? If it was a links course, I would go, no, Rory. Rory or Horsfield. I think Horsfield's got a real big win in him. And is this Rolex series anymore or not?
It's not, no.
Not. Yeah, that's what I mean. I can see Horsfield getting a Rolex series. I'm
going to go McIlroy.
Oh, yeah.
Got to do it. Left him out of the US Open, bring him back in as captain for the Irish.
Don't know yet. Don't know on that one. I might leave that one with me. Probably be a Wednesday night, what are we doing? But yeah, so I'm sure the boys will be great to be they'll all be watching the Euros, won't they, and stuff. So all the players will be getting together and watching, in their bubbles or whatever. But I'm sure they'll be allowed to watch it together. I always like being on tour when you had your countries. Although obviously it was never great being England with your expectations and then getting knocked out to Germany. So on the positive though, Kit, my golf lessons have got cancelled tomorrow night, so I can watch the game.
Excellent. Well, this is another reason why you might not want to select Martin Keimer. He's going to be heartbroken when England have knocked Germany out of the Euro.
Very true. Thomas Peters will be on a high, won't he? So maybe yeah. We need to look at all this, how the feel-good factor. Thomas Bjorn will be in Baku somewhere, won't he? He won't be playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any of the Spanish lads will just be emotionally drained after tonight. So yeah, have a look at their team's Euro results and then pick on that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I do think sometimes you get inspired by stuff. So like Peters might get a little bit of that from Belgium. I mean, we're all sports people, so we all watch loads and loads of sport anyway. So yeah, it's always good when that happens. I remember watching England lose to Germany, like in Portugal, when Frank Lampard's goal that what never was, and honestly, it did deflate you. It really did. So that was the reason I didn't win that week, obviously. So right then, I reckon we're about set. Let's hope for 3 captains wins in a row. And I might go different to you just so I can try and catch up. So I might go Horsfield.
Interesting. You are catching up fast these last 2 weeks, so I need to get back into some big captains weeks, I think.
Yeah. Right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Once again, like, comment, subscribe below. We do always look at them, and yeah, let us know how your team's going. This is kind of nearly, well, at least middle of the season. It's been a really good stretch so far. I've got some great events coming up. Yeah, nearly the Open Championship, which will be exciting. Right, thank you all for watching. See you soon. Bye.